Hi, this is Patrick.
And Tim from Radio Free Mandalore.
And you're listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs,
the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy.
Now here's your host, Tim McMahon.
It was a simple story about a boy who was lost and a girl who was broken.
Hey, it's Tim. Now, as we learned at Star Wars Celebration, and as I predicted last week, Star Wars Rebels is coming to an end after its 4th season. And while the show is not over yet, people are already starting to ask, what's next? It's long been rumored that the next animated Star Wars series would be set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, probably focusing on Luke Skywalker's attempt to rebuild the Jedi Order. However, because I know he is listening, I would like to pitch to Dave Filoni 5 other ideas that I believe would make for great animated Star Wars shows. Here we go.
Number 1.
Let's look back in time. No, not an Old Republic show, but rather a prequel to the prequels. Imagine, if you will, the adventures of Yoda and his young Padawan Dooku. While there is no giant galactic conflict at this time, you know there's plenty of adventures to be had. And at the same time, we can see Darth Tenebrous, excuse my pronunciation, and his pupil, Darth Plagueis, pulling the strings behind the scenes, laying the groundwork that Palpatine would later use in his rise to power. And as the story progresses in time, we could later follow Dooku and Qui-Gon Jinn, and then we could see the story of Dooku leaving the Jedi Order, and then we can have Qui-Gon taking on Obi-Wan Kenobi as his Padawan learner. Heck, Sifo Dyas could finally take center stage.
Number 2.
Before George Lucas made Star Wars, he made American Graffiti, which, please, if you haven't seen it, go do it. It's an amazing film. It's ahead of its time. Anyway, with that in mind, I say, why not make Tatooine Graffiti? Set in Tosche Station, we would follow the lives of teenage moisture farmers as they try to make it through another season. Sure, Luke could be a character, but I don't think you'd want him as the main character. You could follow Biggs Darklighter, a Tank, and Cammy, and Fixer, and all the rest of the gang. And I'd only have the story set on Tatooine. And before you say, hey, there wouldn't be enough adventure for them, I say there's plenty of trouble to be had on that dust ball of a planet. And besides, if you look at American Graffiti as an inspiration, the type of adventures these characters would get into do not necessarily involve blasters and spaceships. It's more a coming-of-age story, if you will.
Number 3.
This one is sort of a cheat because it is set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. I say bring back the Droids cartoon, but this time, instead of it being all cutesy and kid-friendly, I say make it a dark spy thriller about 3PO's network of droid informants. What? You don't know about 3PO the Spy Master? Then you need to check out the Poe Dameron comic book series. 3PO is not always the bumbling fool we take him for. He can be rather serious and capable when his programming requires it. I say let's see that.
Number 4.
This one would probably be too expensive to produce because it would never be set in the same location, but I would like to see an in-universe non-fiction show. A documentary series about the history of the Galactic Civil War, Ken Burns style, or maybe just a telling of the galactic history as a whole. Or you could do a travelogue show, introducing new planets, new locales, new species, or make it a food show. That would be cool. Or how about a David Attenborough type nature show, showing the multitude of creatures out there. I would love to see monkey lizards in their natural habitat. I don't know if there's a story to be told, but again, it's a non-fiction show, so do you really need a story?
Number 5.
And finally, as a card-carrying member of the 501st, I have to put this out there. How about a show from the Imperial point of view? Sure, the Emperor and Vader may have been bad guys, but not every guy inside the white armor could have been all bad. Most were just soldiers doing their part to support their government and protect their people. I think a military action show seen from another point of view, other than the rebellions, would be an interesting twist. But it won't happen because Star Wars is mythology, and you need the bad guys to be bad and the good guys to be good, for the most part. But hey, like the opening crawl of episode 3 states, there are heroes on both sides. Okay, those are my ideas for new animated Star Wars shows. What would you like to see Mr. Filoni produce next? I want to know. Email me at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com or connect with me on any of my social media accounts. All the links can be found on my website, 12parsekspodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Ootini!
May the Force be with you.
You've been listening to Less Than 12 Parsecs, the fastest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy, part of the expanded Fandomverse network of shows. For links and show notes, visit our website, 12parsekpodcast.com. Follow Less Than 12 Parsecs on Twitter at 12parpod, on Instagram at 12parsekspodcast, on Tumblr at 12parsekspodcast, and find us on Facebook as well. And please let us know what you think. Email us at 12parsekspodcast@gmail.com.